hope you're hungry for nothing. Hi, hello everyone, my name is Jer, and we are back talking about Drag Race France Season 4, the Golden Episode 4. And like every week, we'll be ranking each one of the runway outfits. This week's category is Appetizer, Entree, and Dessert. It is so fun to see yet another Snatch game feature a food theme as its runway. We saw this concept in Drag Race UK Season 3, we saw it in Philippines 2, and then in Drag Race Germany. Each of these franchises had their own respective food theme, the UK one being heavily themed around fruits, whereas Germany and Philippines were just about having delicious food. The twist for Drag Race France Season 4's food theme is that they take on the classic reveal, and this is a category that I'm generally bored by. The reveal has been done so many times since Sasha Velour did her flower reveal that it's now become a compulsory element to every single Drag Race season, and I'm over it! But I like that they took the reveal theme and folded that into something more focused, like food. And I think with a prompt like appetizer, entree, dessert, you could have a lot of fun. I'll be honest, I struggled to rank this runway because overall I was a bit whelmed by them all. There were a lot of misses on the actual prompt. We got a lot of cool looks, but they didn't feature food. And then the ones that did feature food were either a bit dull or just focused on one food group. And I think that's ultimately the problem with the reveal category. The bulk of the look that we're gonna see doesn't actually matter because the centerpiece is the final thing we'll see. That's the one that's gonna get all the attention to detail. Not everyone is gonna be a Jada Essence Hall in her 4 Seasons runway, where every single look had its own intricate design to it. We're gonna see a lot of fluff and filler pieces in these kind of runways. I can't wait for them to be retired permanently from Drag Race, but until then, let's get into this, and I will be ranking them to my personal preferences, which again I kind of struggled with because there were some misses. And I wanted to feast this runway, and I was left with my stomach growling a bit. In my 7th position is Holly White, who had such a stunning turnout last week on the runway that this was almost more disappointing. It was such a womp womp. She begins with this garlic butter escargot moment, a classic French cuisine that I personally will never try, but I can appreciate from a distance, like over there, while it's eaten over there. This ruffled brown hula hoop moment just doesn't do a lot for me. It's kind of flat, it's uninteresting, and I think that's my thoughts generally about her entire package this week. I do enjoy how it transforms into a bag, but that's kind of where it ends. Her second look is meant to be a Savoyard fondue, and while I appreciate that there is a second look that is food themed, where a lot of queens did not have one, visually, this goldenrod and copper drippy effect are a bit boring to me. And then the final reveal is to an even less exciting bride cake, love cake. I enjoy the structure of the puff skirt, and that's where my compliments stop. I personally had very high expectations for Holly, considering that every other week she's been doing well, and I've enjoyed what she's put out. This was just not up to par, and I don't know what happened. Chops for all 3 looks. In my 6th position is Azamelia, and she wanted to represent the 3 regions that shaped her, so she references Endives, Miswa, and Paris. Her first look, Nikki specifically says chicon, which I can only assume is chicory, something I also have not consumed, but I remember this vocab word from Drag Race Belgique. I think the chicory look is her best of all 3 categories. This was my favorite, and I think it's also my favorite of all of the appetizers. It's fun, it has a cool shape, the color's exciting, I'm into this. So it got me hyped for the rest of it. Her second look is a salad.
Are you serious? No.
And I both love and hate this. I'm wild about that lame translated as lettuce leaves. There's something really interesting there. I think that could have been layered just a bit more. It should have come all the way to the top of the look. The Willy Wonka lickable wall salad toppers are what throws me off from this being a more effective look. The eggs and the tomato are fun, but they're just like pressed right up on the garment. And it just was not an effective look for me. And then her dessert is meant to be this rich Parisian chocolate, but I was just getting brown maxi pad. It needed some more texture. It needed some graphic lines to read more as either chocolate bar or melting chocolate. I think this just looks like a brown dress. Major props to Azamelia though, because there was no left on the runway, and I love when a garment transforms and doesn't leave stuff on the floor. That is my favorite, because it is not fierce to go back and pick up your own stuff. It is not fierce to ask someone to go and clean up after you because you left crap all over the place. I hate when drag queens do it at the club. I hate when they do it on the show. Whatever you've got, if you cannot take it with you, don't leave it on the ground. And so I do give her major props for that, but because look 2 and 3 were underwhelming and I really only liked that first look, the appetizer, it's chops for the other 2, but a slay for the first one. In my 5th position is Lana Cotta. And to some, wine is a 3-course meal. And for those folks, they need AA. I mostly want to talk about the performance of the look rather than the actual composition of the garment, because beyond the first look, there's not a lot to talk about. She starts off representing a grape, and I thought that was fun as a visual. And then she turns into this Dionysus as a woman, and then strips down to reveal something so extremely unwell. I cannot show these visuals due to monetization purposes, but y'all have heard about titty milk, right? Titty wine though? Come on, wine rack. That first look is so cool. I love the visual of the table and the skirt, that flesh corset with the ab lines styled on it. Gorgeous. The hair is stunning with the grape inclusion. However, my biggest problem with Lana Cotta is that she could sell her looks exponentially better. She usually has one bit that she commits to, and she's either leading up to that event and filling it with fluff, or she does the bit and then fills the back end with fluff. I wish that she would take her time with the runway, have more fun with it, look less rehearsed. You can always see her thinking about what's gonna happen next. Like even here, none of it looks natural. It all looks a little restrained. It's choreographed well, which is fierce, but you have to sell it and make it not look like you're reading the lines directly off the paper. Because the humor of this is the best part. When she squeezes the areola and the wine comes out, that's exciting, it's fun, it's camp, it's drag. But it's like, okay, I gotta take this off, and then this, and then, oop, don't forget the glass, gotta go get the glass. Okay, and then we walk, strip. The concept of this look slays. The execution, not so much. And I do wish that there was a bit more variety rather than just wine. In my 4th position is Daisy Super Bitch. She wanted to share a 3-part story representing Normandy, where she's from, represented through this classic apple tart. This diner girl started out super cute, very 50s. I love that she started out with this great acting, pretending like she was trying to take an order for the judges, but nothing they wanted was on the menu. But you know what? She does have this apple tart. And sometimes you just gotta skip straight to dessert. You deserve a sweet treat. You work hard. I love this tart. I love the shape, I love the style, I like the way that it's constructed. I'm not sure I love the gingham underneath it. I wish that tore off because it sort of just dragged under the tart, like a tent. And then she got the judges so hyped. They were all chanting in unison, the reveal, the reveal, the reveal. And then you can audibly hear one of the judges saying, oh, because the second look was just nude illusion and whipped cream. And I'll say the layering of that whipped cream is cute. The reveal to it was a bit unrehearsed. It was a bit clunky to get there. And in direct comparison to Lana Cotta, who almost seems over-prepared when she goes to the runway, to the point where she is rehearsing still in her head everything she's got to do and trying to hit all her marks. What happens here with Daisy is that she seems underprepared, massively so. Like she didn't really think about what she was gonna do. It's all just about the vibes. And vibes and improv are important on the runway sometimes, but you cannot yes and when you're trying to present a reveal look. That's gotta be choreographed down to the very second. So you know exactly how everything's supposed to look, that you're not turning in an odd direction, you're allowing the judges to take in everything, that you've got your body positioned towards your right camera, all of that. They're soft slays. In my 3rd position is Sublime, who also went with a direct to dessert concept. She starts out as the chef, reveals a strawberry dessert underneath the cloche, and then leaves the kitchen to go on a picnic because why not? And ultimately, her food is the very same as what was on her head at the beginning. It almost subverts expectations that we're gonna get something different. It's the same food every single time, and I kind of like that, even though I would have liked a bit more food. I wanted an actual appetizer. I wanted an actual entree. I love this chef look, but it is massively undercutting the theme. And then the messy picnic blanket was also missing that entree vibe to me. But that last look, that is my favorite of all the desserts because of its whimsy, despite its simplicity, despite it being a bodysuit. And the translation of these materials is super interesting in what is a fairly boring silhouette. I love the strawberries underneath that vinyl popping out. It's such a striking visual. Her overall styling is cute. I love those red spit curls in the hair. My biggest issue is that the entire look was focused on the dessert, much like the previous look, and there's not a lot of levels, but the color story is to die for. In my 2nd position is Fluffy Bidul. I love this girl. She wanted to share a bit of her culture, a bit of her background, talk about her family in this runway, and I think that food and family are always coinciding with each other. So she starts out with this ode to her grandmother, which I thought was sweet. I enjoyed hearing about this woman who used to pick vegetables fresh from the garden, prepare them for meals, and I will say this look is stunning. I get well enough appetizer from it because there's the fresh food inclusion in that basket. Fluffy then transforms into a bacalao codfish, which I've never seen or eaten because anything that comes from a body of water I do not put in my mouth. This fish is super camp. Part of me enjoys that the salad is coming out of the mouth, but more on that in just a minute, so let's put a pin in that. The outfit then transforms into a kuruba flower, which I've also never had, but she explains that when you bite into the base, there's a sweet sugar filling. Overall, I found her story sweet. I liked her execution. These colors are refreshing. I think she was able to think outside of the box while also sticking to the runway brief. Now, here's what I'm not living for. I'm someone who wants to see all the parts disappear from a reveal garment, especially if things are gonna fold downwards and keep collapsing on themselves. I want those edges to be removed. And in my personal opinion, from a design aspect, it seems like the lengths were not refined in the process of getting it from production to the main stage in order to hide those edges. Like I mentioned, I kind of like that the salad is coming out of the fish's mouth. It reminds me of photos that I've seen of fish that have been baked and then they're stuffed afterwards with fresh herbs and lemon and such. I think it's possibly even this fish. But in this last look, you can see a lot of that popping out at the very bottom. I would have liked to have seen some of the lengths and perspectives be adjusted and refined before this hit the main stage. And that is a lot of work. There's a lot of back and forth of retooling, but sometimes it's simply just, okay, we need to remove an inch from the top of this because as it comes down, it's gonna fall and land here. So then when that last look comes out underneath it, we wanted to cover that. Overall, the looks are slays. And in my #1 spot, top of the week for me is La Harpy. I am obsessed with how she does drag, and I have loved what she's done every single week. I love this girl so much. She wanted to showcase the gross, decaying underbelly of the wealthy, starting with this woman who is about to burst from the seams into a dramatic spiral. All of these looks are a hyper avant-garde approach to the brief because it's not quite foods being showcased. Rather, it's the waste that comes from it, especially reflecting those that come from the upper echelons of society. And it's brilliant commentary on how pretty things look externally, then there's so much filth underneath it all. This polished glam woman is about to break down. She's about to lose it. Her performance is arresting, coming out of that first look, revealing into this sterile kitchen covered in flies and rot. And even those filthy little buzzers were bedazzled and rhinestoned, and they were glam and they were drag. They're graphic, they're gross, there's something glam about them. The structure of those shoulders make me so happy. This is some Dragula tea right here. And then everything bursts from below and above and every direction to reveal this trash that's everywhere. It's disgusting. It's filthy, but I love it. The yarn being utilized to represent the mold is divine. Her storytelling alone through the presentation gave me full body chills. I have chills looking at this. It expresses such a refined taste level while presenting something that is so utterly foul. And even though I complained with Fluffy's look that you can see a lot of those edges, it works for this look because it's all about peeling back the layers of what seems like a finely manicured, veneered society and showing this gross reality that's underneath it all. So those edges not really blending or disappearing works for the final product of this, which is trash, like actual trash. This is a top tier slay. Her and Fluffy have been doing it so hard this season. I'm sad that I don't hear more people talking about it. Last thought, that guest judge, so tasty. Can Drag Race France give him the Evan Mulrooney treatment, please? What'd y'all think about the runway this week? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to check out the Patreon if you would like to support this channel. You can also check out the Extravaganza Extra membership that is here on YouTube. Press that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see y'all on the flip.